Oh,
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Dead Funny Podcast. I'm your host, Chris. Joining me today is my co-hosts, Kelsey and JoJo. And today, Kelsey wants to talk about fungus for some reason. I don't know why.
No, you don't understand. I could probably go on for this entire podcast about fungus. There's so much cool crap. There's so much cool crap. But I realize neither one of you gives a shit, and so unless you want me to go into probably a 45-minute long dialogue about how it's probably going to be fungus that are killing us through global warming more than anything else, we can move on to whatever the hell you guys want to talk about.
The only reason I thought the fungus thing was funny was because my favorite anime is currently back, and the newest episode that was just out that I just watched before I came and did this was they had a new kid on the block in class 1B or 2, 1B. Yeah, it's 1A and 1B. Yeah, class 1B, wanting to be a superhero, and I don't know what she can do yet besides she can make a shit ton of mushrooms grow. So, yeah.
See, here's the thing: is it just mushrooms, or can she make a shit ton of fungus grow? Because those are two very different
she
things.
Specifically said mushrooms.
Interesting.
That was her exact wording. Now, whether or not with English translation, maybe that might not be her full power. I don't know. Like, whenever they actually have like a new student, it's usually like the next episode where they're all like, so and so, and this is their power, and this is exactly how they use it, and we haven't gotten that yet. That'll be next episode. So it was just like at the end they stopped the shadow guy, and all of a sudden the chick that's invisible was like, what the? And they turned and looked at her, and there was just mushrooms just popping up everywhere all over her body, and she was like, what the hell? And then it showed like this little chick with a little mushroom hat on, and she's all like, when plan A failed, it was time for plan B, mushrooms. And then you just see them just growing all over the fucking place. So I don't know what that's gonna all entail yet, but I'm super excited to find out on next week's episode of My Hero Academia. So
see, mushrooms and fungus are one of those things that we have ignored for a very long time, and we're just kind of like, meh, whatever, it grows on stuff that's dying, why do I care? But the thing is that our bodies in particular are wonderful places for mushrooms to grow. If you don't remember the podcast where I told you about the guy that injected himself with a bunch, where we are is exactly where fungus want to be, but they can't get into us because we are too warm for them. Our 98.6 roughly is actually too hot for them. But and that's why global warming is causing a problem, because once fungus figures out how to invade any part of us, this happens a lot with college students when they are first at college. They don't have mom cleaning their sheets anymore, so they're just like, I don't have to clean my sheets. Your pillow is a perfect place for fungus to grow, and then they end up with a fungal infection all over their face, and then sometimes all over their entire body, that makes it really unattractive for you to be around anybody. And then you have to take a whole bunch of antifungal medication, which does horrible things to you but doesn't do all that much to the fungus, because fungus is actually super hard to kill. So don't A, wash your sheets, that's thing one. B, don't inject yourself with fungus. And C, check out why fungus is going to kill us all in a few short years. Because it's totally worth being aware of, because it's already happening. They're already killing us all over the planet. So the mushroom chick is probably super powerful if they're going to do anything authentic with what that power is. If they're just going to be like, aren't mushrooms adorable? Then she's going to suck. But fungus is super fucking scary.
I don't know.
It's actually central to the Resident Evil plot we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that.
It's all fungus, I think, in 7.
Or they call it mold.
Yeah.
The mold.
Well, from a fungus. Mold is just microscopic fungus.
I'm just saying they call it the mold in the game. The mold.
We don't totally understand how mold and fungus work, which is a problem when you're trying to, treat an infection that's killing someone. Like, that's a good time to know everything. So it's very interesting.
That's fair.
This is what I care about, guys. I care about mold and fungus. I'm an interesting person. All right, what did you want to talk about? What was your thing?
So, yeah.
I know you had a thing. I'm like 8 words.
Actually.
You didn't? Do you want me to tell you why fungus is going to kill us?
I don't know.
Is that a no?
We're gonna get hit with like some fucking fat check. Fucking take the video down. Like fucking Dead Funny over here is trying to be like the time has come. The end is nigh.
I mean,
hide your face from the fungus.
I am the end is nigh person, but
oh shit. We're gonna violate some kind of guideline. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Fuck it,
I didn't bring anything.
Okay.
All right.
So
strap in, JoJo.
Strap in. Get excited. So a few years ago, some scientists were sitting down and thinking about the fact that through every mass extinction that the Earth has had up to this point, the creatures that came out on the other side as like the overlords, basically, were all reptilian, except for this time. And so the question was, well, what the hell made this time different? Why don't we have reptilian overlords? Why were mammals successful this time? Because we've had small versions of mammals, or even large versions of mammals, hey, sloths, all the way back in various of the dinosaur periods. So why this time were mammals the successful ones and not the reptiles? And they started looking into it, and what it was is it's the asteroid. So when the asteroid hit, it put a whole ton of debris into the atmosphere, circling the Earth, darkening the sky. And what happened was fungus is a major killer of reptiles and amphibians, and it goes after them in a way it doesn't go after us because they're cold-blooded, so their bodies actually can't raise the temperature and fight them off. The number one thing that kills fungus is heat, and so their bodies can't fight it off, so they die to fungus. That's actually one of the reasons that you'll see frogs or turtles or things like that just out on a sunny place like sunning themselves. Sometimes it's to warm up, and sometimes it's to try to use the hot surface to burn the fungus off of various parts of their body, so that way the fungus doesn't infect them. Well, when this cooling happened of the whole Earth, because there was so much debris in the atmosphere that the whole Earth wasn't getting as warm, there's and we can see this in the fossil records and like ice samples and things like that, where fungus went insane. It exploded all over the planet and reproduced in crazy huge ways that it never had before. And so it went absolutely everywhere, meaning that these reptiles couldn't grow as big over time with evolution because the fungus was everywhere. There was no safe place from the fungus. Now, mammals, tiny little rodents, did have their own internal heating system and could heat up and fight off the fungus, which actually allowed the mammals to succeed in this current environment. So even as the debris came out, by that time the fungus had actually gotten everywhere, so that way the reptiles couldn't get away from it, but the mammals could continue to proliferate. So that brings us to, why is this going to kill us and why do we care? Every year with global warming, we keep talking about record high temperatures, record high temperatures, record high temperatures. Our bodies are roughly 98.6 degrees. Now, there's some interesting things where in third world countries where in first world countries with better medicine, people actually, our body temperatures are lowering to closer to 97.5 or even 97 degrees, and we don't totally know why that's happening, but it's super interesting, and my guess is because we don't have as much exposure to fungus, so our body doesn't keep our blood temperature as high. But with every passing year, as global warming affects the global temperatures, the fungus would normally get burned off at a certain level, right? Let's say 80 degrees. Well, one year, the highest temperature is 81 degrees, and the fungus is just like, you know what, fuck it. At least a few of them are like, I'm going to stick around, I'm just going to hold it out. And after it's 80 degrees for 2 or 3 days, now that fungus, all the rest of them have died off in the heat, but that one's now able to succeed. So then a fungus now is here that can survive 81 degrees, and so now it's 82, and now it's 83. So every year, as we take these little micro steps up in temperature, now fungus can survive 106 degrees. Well, that's problematic because our bodies can't get to 106 degrees without killing us. So the fevers that our bodies have for years, that mammalian bodies have used to protect us from fungal infections, is no longer working because fungus is in the general environment becoming better and better and better at sustaining high temperatures of heat for a long period of time. Why this is relevant? Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. No.
Sorry. So we should warm the planet faster.
No, we should either warm the planet significantly faster.
We need to warm it so fast that
I agree with JoJo. We need to put the Earth in a gigantic microwave and just fucking put that bitch on popcorn. I think popcorn would work. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Sweet.
Exactly. Big microwave, that solves the problem.
Dead Funny has solved global warming. You're welcome.
Microwave, giant space microwave.
Let's get it.
Because, microwave doesn't work by... accelerating water particles or anything, and that wouldn't be relevant to human beings that are 70% water. So, who cares?
We'll be all right. That's why you put it on popcorn. We'll be like right on the verge, but we'll be okay. It always stops a little too little before the kernels are all done. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's
so
logic. Logic.
I dislike that we've turned into kernels in your example.
Logic.
But the super cool and super terrible part of this is that fungus is actually all over us, and we have various forms. If you think like almost every single, actually no, guaranteed every single one of our homes has some form of mold in it, on some surface, probably your shower, to be totally honest. But everywhere in our planet is mold and fungus in some way, shape, or form. And we carry it in on our shoes after we go on a hike, things like that. It's also on our skin. We have various forms of I completely forgot the name of it. But long story short, there are specific forms of fungus that have figured out how to kill us. And they invade us through ear infections or respiratory infections, or they get into our bodies through cuts and things like that. But because they're coming from an environment that is warmer than our bodies can get, or at least consistently warm enough to allow them to be okay with 106, 107 degrees, we can't fight them off anymore. And now they're starting to kill us. And there's one particular strain that's been found in England and Japan and the Middle East, I believe. All three of those, same strain, all of those places that are now able to infect people. And it has an 80% death kill rate. So if you get this, you're dying because we just can't. There's nothing we can do. So the thing that's going to kill all of us from global warming is fungus. Not what I expected, but hey! That is my gloom and doom news of the day. And if anybody's interested, there's an entire NPR podcast about it called The Fungus Among Us. Go check it out. It's worth your time. They do a better job of explaining, and they also they link their sources, which I am not doing. This is my link for my source, NPR, Fungus Among Us. All right, guys, let's talk about media, something that you guys care about, because this is all I care about. I care about fungus.
How short-term should my plans be? When's this thing going to kill me?
Well, let's look at it this way, JoJo. You should not book those tickets to the rodeo that we talked about that last time. So. Go ahead and cancel those plans. You thought you were safe to come out from COVID. You were fucking wrong. Mushroom right around the corner.
This fungus and fungal infections that I'm describing is already on the WHO's and the CDC's watch lists. And not only on the watch list, they already have, this is the type, this is how deadly it is, this is how you watch for it, this is a severe concern, and all hospitals should already be scanning their patients for this. This is not COVID awareness, but this is very in the minds of medical professionals or medical professional administrators.
Yep.
So if you get a weird ear infection that just doesn't seem to go away, maybe go get that looked at. And don't lick the forest floor. If you can resist the urge, don't do it. Everything goes there.
I cannot promise that. That I cannot promise. That's where I draw the line. That is exactly where I draw the line. My favorite pastime right there is walking out and just licking the ground.
I'm just showing up into Chris's life and taking away his favorite things, like licking the
bunch
forest
of bullshit.
floor.
It's a bunch of bullshit is what it is. It's just a war on Chris right now.
Yeah, I'm just a shitty friend.
Oh my god. Good lord. Well,
yeah.
Well, we have that to look forward to, so there you go.
Yeah. So it's that or Yellowstone volcano, which was the other big thing that I talked about killing us all. Because that's overdue. That's significantly overdue.
Kelsey just likes to just be the fucking
Could
downer of the podcast.
Volcano kill the fungus.
Ooh.
No, it wouldn't. I mean, technically, where it was exploding, it would kill the fungus, but the debris that it would launch into the air, which would cause a global winter for years, is going to kill a ton of plants and actually going to be beautiful for the fungus. So no, it will actually cause a fungal explosion. So any humans that can survive most of the way through the winter that's going to last for 4 years globally are going to be killed by the fungus, because the fungus is now going to be able to eat all of the plants and all of the the other organic matter that's everywhere.
Tight. Cool.
Yeah.
So
really what's going to be happening, the next mass extinction is going to be is primarily organic things, and you're just going to end up with a bunch of fungus, which is technically organic, but it's organic in a way we don't understand. So let's call it alien.
Did fungus come from space? Is that where we're at now? Was it on the
Possibly.
asteroid?
Have you seen Venom? If you haven't, you should check it out. It's a great documentary about how fungus made it to Earth. It's fantastic. I need to call up my boy Elon and be like, when's those SpaceX flights going through? Let's go. Koopa's hosting the next podcast on Mars. Let's get it. So,
But there are fungus that actually feed on not only cosmic radiation, so it hangs out in the upper atmosphere, and when our satellites and our spacecraft come back in, they're actually coated with it as they come back through the atmosphere. And then there's a whole bunch of fungus that they believe eats radiation, hanging out all over the elephant's foot in Chernobyl. Nobody thought anything would grow there. Most things are dead. Most things can't, except this one bacteria that's just like, some fungus that's like, finally, some good fucking food. It's having a good time.
There is animal life out there now, so has been for a while now. Mutated animal life, but you know.
Yeah, it's not good animal life. You don't want to munch on that. Close.
But see, so my problem with the fungus, as you said, that would coat the rocket ship, wouldn't it all get like burnt off coming back in the atmosphere due to the high heat?
I believe it's most of the way through the atmosphere where this actually hangs out, because it has to be enough in the atmosphere that it's protected from the temperatures, and it like outside enough that it actually receives some of the radiation. So where it is in this whole process, I don't know. So I don't know. I know that spacecraft come back in and it's coated with there are only 2 cases that we know of, I believe, of fungus that can survive off of radiation and actually use radiation as a form of creating nutrients for itself. And that's the bacteria, I keep saying bacteria. It's not bacteria. That's the fungus that is on the Chernobyl, that is in and around Chernobyl. And then it's the fungus that has been found on our spacecraft returning from space. So I don't know where it's getting it. I don't know how it's getting it, but the only radiation that is in our upper atmosphere is cosmic radiation, to the best of my knowledge. I could be wrong. If you know that there are other sources of radiation, please put it in there. But
I have not.
It comes back and it's coded in it. That's all I know.
I've not opened up my radiation books in quite some time, so I might take your word for it.
I'm an accountant. We don't learn about radiation.
There's the radiation that made the Hulk. Yeah.
You don't know anything. Yeah. What are you telling us? Come on.
I know 2 types of radiation: the radiation that made the Hulk, and then the radiation that exists outside the vault and Fallout. That's about all I know.
And I didn't mention either of those. So what the fuck do I know?
Exactly. See, fucking schooling you. Jesus. Kelsey thought she was coming to fucking her version of the DFU today. No, ma'am.
Oh, worried, and then I realized, wait, no, you're an
accountant. Of course you don't know what you're talking about.
I can't have knowledge.
No. Unless you're talking numbers. Don't even talk anymore. Like, oh my God. Well, yeah, I don't know where to transition from that. I'm not going to lie. Like, yeah, we're just kind of like here in the space of fungus. What if we just become fungus people? You said we don't know how it works yet. What if it just like, we just turn into like little pieces of just fungus and we just continue on living?
You know there's fungus that takes over creatures, right?
Yeah. I'm aware of that. That's what I'm saying. What if we just become fungus?
It's not a pleasant experience for the creature.
We don't know. We haven't been there yet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, this is what I know, right? This guy who had the mushrooms growing inside of him.
Oh my God. Bad life. Bad life choice.
From the world that I come from, a mushroom means 1 up. That's an extra life. Like, we don't know how many mushrooms he had inside of him, how many more extra lives he had. We don't. We just don't know. We physically don't know. I mean, this is solid fucking facts that I'm hitting you with right now. And maybe some of the mushrooms make you grow big. He could have been our own Ant-Man.
He still might be when he gets off of all the machines preventing his massive organ failure. Well, and multiple organ failure.
Once he activates his 1 up, he'll be good to go.
I'm pretty sure the 1 up in this scenario is that the mushroom eats you and the mushroom gets to live. And there's a bunch of you hanging out in that mushroom, and that's the closest you get.
Yeah, but see, wouldn't that be like the ultimate revenge movie? Where there's a bunch of you hanging out in the mushroom, you're like, haha, bitch, it's revenge time. And then you kill the mushroom from the inside out. There you go.
I love your
Yeah.
concept of the afterlife, where you're just
Yeah.
like, these minerals once hung out, so from the afterlife, I will control them to shred the mushroom from the inside out. Shiitake!
That's the name. There you go. There's the title. But it's going to be shit! Exclamation mark, Taki. Or, oh shit, Taki.
Oh, shiitake, yeah. God, do you remember doing that in middle school, where you'd try to find clever ways of like
Yes.
swearing, and it was like ship and shiitake
Yes.
mushroom and other crap like that, so that way
Yeah, I
you could
distinctly
swear.
remember that being like a Spy Kids trailer or something.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
Forgot about
that,
that.
and then I started hanging out with all the bad kids, and I just didn't give a shit anymore. So then I was just like, nah. Yeah. I actually got that's a funny story. I actually got a tutor in trouble. She got removed from the classroom because I was acting such an asshole to the point where she actually cussed me out in class. It's like 5th grade. It's like 5th grade.
Damn.
Yeah, I remember this specifically because I couldn't believe that the teacher spoke to me the way that she did. Because I was just doing dumb stuff where it was like, like just making sounds with my book. I wasn't like doing anything like too crazy. But, like just fucking doing just dumb shit. And, Mr. Giles, stop. Mr. Giles, stop. And I just keep doing it, just ever find something new to do and still be annoying. And then finally she's like, sit the fuck down in your seat and shut the fuck up. And I was like,
Jeez.
I'm pretty sure you can't talk to me that way. And so I went and told the principal, and then like cops showed up to make sure that like, none of the kids have gotten like hit on or something, anything like that, And then, she was told to leave the classroom, and then I never saw her again. So,
Damn.
Ooh.
I mean, to be fair, it was a collective group of us, but I was definitely the main one that was acting out the most. So, because everybody else was kind of like just egging me on. They're like, oh yeah, dude, fucking Chris is fucking, yeah, you got it. It's all right.
And she didn't just like send you to another class to like
She
fill
could
out
have.
okay, so she could have.
She could have sent me to the principal's office, and they would have beat the fuck out of me. Like I went to school in Texas. In school in Texas, like my parents in general signed release forms for the principals to battle the shit out of us. I can't tell you how many times I've had my ass whipped in the principal's office. This is legit shit. This is no lie. She could have sent me in there. She could have told Miss Barbara. I remember Miss Barbara. She could have told Miss Barbara and be like, Chris acting up. Miss Barbara loved to paddle me. She knew I was an asshole. She knew that. I'll never forget. I want to say it was like, I don't know what year it was, but there was one year where I literally spent every fucking lunch in lunch detention. So what lunch detention was in my school was like we had this gigantic fucking cafeteria with all these round tables, and I always sat like at the dim lit one because like it was like there was like this brick overhang that cast a shadow. That's where all the bad kids sat and stuff like that. I was hanging out with the wrong crowd for sure. And we had this stage in the cafeteria. So it's like you walk through the doors, big ass stage on the left, and that's where like, they did talent shows, stuff like that, teachers talk conference and shit, all the other bullshit. So that's where lunch detention was that you had to sit in a desk. So they brought desks in from classrooms, put them on the stage, and you had to sit up there with your lunch and do homework with your back towards the cafeteria. So everybody could, I guess, basically laugh at you because you're up there. So, so another form of humiliation, I guess. So that way you don't ever want to be up there again. That was like every fucking day lunch for me. I didn't give a shit. I was up there all the time. And I'll never forget, there was one day I finally was like, I think it was my teacher was like, hey, by the way, just so you know, you don't have to worry about bringing your textbook with you to lunch. I was like, why not? Like, oh, well, you're finally off lunch detention. I was like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, off of lunch detention? What? I'm free. So I walk in there, I get my lunch, I'm heading to my table, I see all my friends, the bad crowd, they're all like, oh shit, Chris, oh shit, yeah. And I'm walking, all of a sudden I hear, Mr. Giles! And I look up, and she's up there behind her podium, she's all like, your seat's empty. And I was all like, I don't have lunch detention. She goes, your shirt tail's out, you do now, the fuck up here. I was like, you gotta be shitting me. And I had lunch for the rest of the year again. Because I got in some more trouble, yeah. Yeah, we had to have our shirts tucked in, and literally it was like a small little piece of my shirt was untucked in the back. Yeah.
She just didn't like you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She hated the shit out of me.
She also may have been trying actively to separate you from the bad kids.
They definitely were. They definitely were. Like 3 of the guys that I sat with like brought knives to school like on a daily basis and finally got like busted by the cops for that shit.
Why
Fucking-
weren't they in the lunch detention then? Why was it you
They
with the shirt?
they acted in the shadows. I'm one of those people where when I act out, I guess I just act out in front of everybody. So I was the guy that was all like, like the teacher might be like, "Oh, well, you know what? Fucking detention for you." And then they're like taking the knife and writing like "she's a bitch" under the desk or something and carving it in there to where they're like, "Lunch detention for you." And I'm like, "Fuck you." And then bam, I get sent to Marco's office. So.
At some point, also, when you have lunch detention literally all the time, constantly, like, maybe realize on the, administrative end that it's not, like, an effective tool.
Yeah.
It's not doing anything for it.
Apparently it wasn't.
You need to try a different tactic.
Unless they are specifically trying to separate him from the bad kid. Again, I'm putting this in because if they're trying to separate him from the bad kids, and the bad kids don't have it and he does, then they're able to maybe they're just like, oh, he's the one we can save, so we'll put him in lunch detention. We'll show him that we're paying attention if he fucks up, and then maybe we can save this one.
Maybe.
Or just pull your bullshit shirts out trick on those other kids, man. That's. If we're just gonna trump up charges anyway, fuck.
Yeah. Well, there was that, and then like I said, the constant paddles. Ugh, that was the worst. Because we had, I don't remember all their names, but I definitely remember Miss Barber. She was the worst. But there was the older principal. He was like the main principal. So there was the principal and 2 vice principals. The older principal, he didn't really care for the whole paddling thing. So if you ever came to his office, the paddle was like, all right, get the fuck out of here. I got other things to do. You're so low on my list of things to do. Just fuck off. Yeah, quit being an asshole. Go back to class. That's basically what it was. Quit being an asshole. Go back to class. Mr. Richardson, I think he enjoyed that shit. He enjoyed that shit. He was the guy that had you, bend over the desk and he'd get, a running start and BAM! Smack the shit out of you. He had this huge wooden paddle. This thing was, this fucking wide. And then Miss Barbara, she had more of a smaller paddle, but man, that fucking thing hurt. And I'll never forget one day
They have individualized paddles?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Personal paddles?
100%. 100% they did. Yes, they did. There was one day I came to school. Was it? Yeah, it was Mr. Richardson. Yeah, that's who it was. The dude with the big paddle. I came to school and I can't remember what it was. I want to say I forgot my homework or something, or I just didn't do it. Or I probably just didn't do it. Knowing me, I just didn't do my fucking homework. I told the fucking teacher I forgot it, and I told that I was going to the fucking principal's house to get paddled, and I was like, "Fuck." I'm wearing sweatpants, so I went in the bathroom and just stuffed my fucking underwear with all this fucking toilet paper so I could walk in with this big ass. And he was like, "What the fuck is this?" I was all like, "I don't know what you're talking about, sir." It's you got toilet paper sticking out of your fucking pants. What do you mean? It was good times.
Private school?
No, it was public school.
What?
Yeah, this is public school, dude.
This is Texas.
Texas is a different state, bro.
Okay.
Texas is a different state.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then high school, they don't do the paddling. So that was all intermediate school. High school, they don't do the paddling. High school is more of the in-school suspension shit.
Sure.
Where that was where I got lucky. That's the one time where being bad actually paid off for me. Is I wasn't doing my homework, so they put me in ISS, in-school suspension, but in-school suspension didn't take place in intermediate school, and I was still in intermediate school. So they had to put me over at the high school to do ISS. So therefore, I got to wake up and go to school with the intermediate school, which was fucking 7 and 8 o'clock, whatever. The high school started school at 6. Well, the high school shuts down at 1:30, 2 o'clock or whatever because they've already been in school for 8 hours. So they're like, all right, get the fuck out of here. And then they close the school down and then they all go do their fucking work at a different office. To where all the ISS kids are normally all high schoolers. Well, there was only me and one other guy in there that were from the intermediate school. So we got to go home early being in ISS. And all you had to do to get out of ISS was they had this fucking piece of paper, and I can still remember most of it to today. It was 8 rules. Just 8 rules. All you had to do was memorize it. That's all you had to do. So you were in ISS for a week, you memorized the rules, and then you fucking read them and you got out. all you did in there was just homework. That's literally all you fucking. You're in a cubicle, face down. You're just doing homework the entire fucking day. That's it. You don't get no breaks, no nothing. Just besides lunch, that's it. So, and then lunch, I knew the fucking lunch lady, so she was still giving me the good lunches because she was the friend of my buddy that was in there with me, versus giving me the peanut butter and jelly that everybody else was getting. So I was still eating the good food in ISS. Got to wake up late and leave school early. I was like, this is fucking great. I mean, I know like the first rule was like look forward and don't talk to the person next to you, like that kind of shit. And literally, it was just 8 of them. You had to memorize that and say it. And every single time I came out there, I was like, damn it, I don't remember. I don't remember. And so, all right, go sit back down in your cubicle. They finally kicked me out of that. So they're like, all right, you're just fucking staying here to stay here. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was a troublemaker.
I was not, as everyone will be surprised to learn. I behaved.
I did not.
Absolutely none of my teachers ever spanked me or would ever spank me. I did end up in in-school suspension once for something I didn't do, but because I knew the people that did, like it was a sub that gave it to us, so it was all the bad kids, which all the teachers knew, and then me, because I was trying to be cool, guys. It didn't work, but I was trying really hard, and so I was hanging out with those kids to try to be cool. Actually saved a couple of their lives, so there's good things that came out of that. They're not my friends today.
In what context did you save their life? Like, you got them off the drugs, or like you jumped in front of a bullet, or like.
Oh yeah, Kelsey definitely
boy.
jumping in front of bullets for sure. Yeah. That's what I see.
Let's see. How much of this do I feel comfortable saying?
There's
or just vague context of what even the risk of death was.
A couple. The women in this particular group, girls. They were girls. We were in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. These were girls.
Yeah.
Were very attractive and hit puberty a little early, and fully adult men in my community found them and offered them things like alcohol and drugs.
Oh my god, okay, so...
And Kelsey, as a girl with way too much goddamn gumption, somehow figured out how to walk into this den of iniquity, grab my friends, and remove them from that place.
Fuck, jeez.
Yeah.
So that's how I saved their lives.
I see. Yeah, that counts. That seems fair. Yeah.
There you go. That's fair.
Now I'm looking at that going, should not have been my job, should not have been my job. Oh my god, how did I get away with that? But
not been anyone's job.
Should not have been
happening.
Job. No, don't. If you are a 21-year-old guy and you're like, that 13-year-old's hot, you have problems.
Yeah.
Go see someone.
Yeah, we can all get behind that one. That's for sure.
Yeah. Do not invite them into your house and lure them with booze and try to get them up on drugs. Like, don't do it.
That was also something that was weird at my school, was that there was there's always a huge separation between boys and girls. Like for a public school, that always seemed pretty weird to me. And maybe that's just, I don't know, maybe your schools were the same. Like, but for like the instance, the cafeteria, told you it was huge. All the girls ate on the right side, all the boys were to eat on the left side, and we actually had separate cafeteria lines.
Wait.
Oh, that was mandated. Okay.
They mandated
this. Yes.
Yeah, no fucking way. That did not happen.
You weren't supposed to sit on the girls' side. The girls weren't supposed to sit on the boys' side. So the only time you sat next to a girl at lunch was if you were both in lunch detention, which happened to me multiple times because I was always in lunch detention. But, so.
That didn't happen at my private Catholic high school.
Yeah, well, this was just your run-of-the-mill fucking public school. This wasn't anything to brag about.
I mean, I feel like you were in a weird place in Texas. I'm gonna go with you were in a weird place.
Real deep Texas? Like, how far were you from a city?
The school was in the city. Like, it was a city school. Like, yeah. It definitely wasn't no deep, no. I mean, the city, so I'm not going to name the official school, but the city that school is in literally is like, I don't know, fucking 10, maybe 15 minutes outside of Houston. Like, we were that close to a gigantic city. So
okay, wow.
Yeah, it wasn't like no.
So you weren't dealing with rural backwater crazies. No. You were dealing with.
Now, where that did pay off for me, I think I did in elementary school. I went to like a more like backwater school, but I don't remember any of that shit. But where that did pay off for me, being out in the country, whenever I finally did go out to the country, was driver's ed. I was the You know, they always talk about lines at DMV. There ain't nobody at those fucking DMVs. Those motherfuckers are wide open. I was able to go in, sit down, take my written test. I literally fucking just walked in, was like, yo, can I take my driving test? Yeah, sure, here you go. Like, I mean, fucking, yeah, this dude will come out, jump in the car with you just like that. Just boom, boom, done. So, yeah, that shit was cool. I'll give him that. It was like, hell yeah. It's like, if I would have went to, like, the city, I would have been a lot more, like, I think I would have been a lot more nervous getting on the road. But I only missed 2 points off of mine because I didn't use my signals to get in and out of parallel parking. So, other than that, I got a 98. So,
Well done.
you know, I know, right? Yep.
Congratulations.
And that was all crunch time to come up here. I literally was on my way up to Wisconsin from Texas that following 2 weeks, I think. So, I was literally getting my driver's license right there. Yeah.
You come up.
Yep.
Interesting.
So, if I would have failed, that would have been an interesting change of events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't driving up here, so I was riding, but still, it would have been kind of a fuck me. All right, now I'm gonna have to like get like a state ID or something when I get to Wisconsin, just so I can fucking work, you know. So, but that didn't happen. Although that almost fucked me big time because I got caught speeding up here, and that's the only time I've ever been pulled over in my life for speeding. I've never been pulled over for speeding before. I've been pulled over 2 times my entire life. One of them was due to the fact that the cop ran my plates and found out I didn't have insurance, which didn't even think that was, I think they saw the van and just profiled the van because the van did not look like it was a good fucking vehicle and it was driving around late at night. So it's like, yeah, it does say you have insurance. And I was like, but I have insurance. I can't grab it out of the glove compartment. Is that cool with you? Yeah, okay, sweet. Yeah, here you go. This is fucking insurance. Yeah, I don't know why I said that, but it says you don't have insurance. That does. Okay, well, I guess I'll go run this right quick. What are you running? Like, what? This makes 0 sense. So, and then he fucking was in the car for like 10 minutes and then came back, gave me the fucking thing, and was like, all right, get the fuck out of here. So I was like, all right, cool. But yeah, so other than that, I got pulled over for speeding, and it was this fucking old lady. Like, I was actually surprised that like she was still on the force. She was very old, and she was out of her car talking to someone. I came around a corner. She immediately ran, jumped in her car, turned on the lights, pulled me over. I was literally knew that she was coming after me because obviously she ran to her fucking car, hobbled, whatever you want to call it. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to fucking pull over and wait. So I literally just pull over and I turn on my fucking hazards and I wait for like 2, 3, 4 minutes. And she finally comes pulling up behind me. And she comes up, she's like, do you know how fast you were going? I was like, honestly, I don't. But I was like, I mean, I was probably speeding maybe like 5, maybe possibly 10. She goes, you were going 75. That's
Bullshit.
35 over what you're supposed to be doing. My boss was like, take that shit to court. Like, go. Does it have a court date? Go. He's like, first off, or no, she at this time. She was like, first off, if you go and show up in court at downtown in Madison, they automatically knock it down just because you show up. They're like, show good faith. They automatically knock it down. 1, 2, on top of that, there's no way you were going this fast on that road. I literally got up to the judge. The judge literally looked at me and goes, is this County Road D out there, like between Midvale and or between Belleville and Oregon? I was like, yes, sir. And he goes, yeah, there's no way you were going this fast. I was like, thank you. He's like, your car would have flipped. I was like, I know, right? That's what I'm saying. He's all like, what did you tell her? I was like, I said I was probably speeding, but like 5 or 10. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. He goes, you're a good kid. You don't have nothing on your record. He's like, I'm gonna be real with you, and this is where the story ties in. He's like, you just moved up here from Texas, and I was like, yeah. And he's like, this ticket really could have fucked you because Texas doesn't have the same learning system that Wisconsin does. Wisconsin has a learning system where points get taken off your license if you speed or, you know, do anything illegal in your car, where it can add up and you lose your license. Well, because I transferred, even though my license was an actual license in Texas, they don't have that kind of system. You just get tickets in Texas. They don't have like a learner point system down there for your license. It's like more of a like a 3 strikes you're out program than fucking, you know, we'll just pile up these points and then take your fucking license away. So he's like, even though this is an actual license, you just got here, so you're still within that probationary period of what we would consider this as a training license. He's like, this right here would have literally took your license away, this ticket alone, because it was going to be like, I think the ticket added up to like $375 fine and like 6 or 7 points on my license, which would have automatically took it away from me. And he knocked it down to 0 points on my license and I think like an $80 fine. So
Wow.
Still not great, but I'm glad he at least agreed with you that there was no way. There's also literally no way she would have known that. She was in a car.
She wasn't in her car. Exactly. She wasn't even in her car.
She was talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way.
100%. Yeah, it was just fucking weird. But that place that I was in is a very weird place. Like, they have like UFO days. Like, and once again, I'm a person that likes like the whole paranormal and then like aliens and shit. Like, I like that. They have like UFO days, and there's like this person who like has built like an actual UFO that drives around, and they come driving around the fucking town in it and shit like that. And like, whenever I first moved out there, I had this Thunderbird, and I blew a head gasket one night whenever I was coming home. And I was like, well, fuck me. I was like, it's one of those things where either the car is going to burn down or I'm going to make it home, and then the car will burn down when I get there. One or the other is going to burn down. It's going to happen. So I'm just driving down the road, and you see this gigantic puff of white smoke just flying out of my fucking hood. So driving all the way home, I get there, and I called the people the next day, and I was like, looking at how much it's going to cost. They're like, well, because of the fact that you have like a V6 engine, it's going to be one of those things where you're going to have two different head gaskets. So one, we got to open it up, figure out which one it is. Two, there's a good chance you might have to replace both. We don't know yet. It all depends on when we look. It could just be a crack. We'll have to wait and see. And then I was like, well, like best case scenario, what are we looking at? Best case scenario, like $2-3 grand. Worst case scenario, we're looking at probably more like fucking 8. We don't know. And I was like, I'm just going to go get into the car. Like, fuck it. It is what it is. I'm done, right? So I called a company to come out and tow the car and sell it because it wouldn't run anymore. I couldn't get it to run anymore. And every time you go out there, and being in Wisconsin, it's one of those things where you have to alternate your car whenever it's fucking winter because of snow, so that they come through and plow. And I'm having to get out there, like, put this fucking thing into gear and fucking like push it and shit to get it over to the other side of the road, and it smelled like a fucking campfire in there every time you got in the car. So I was just like, I was like, holy shit. So they came out, and the lady goes, and it was weird because like I call, and I was talking to the lady that owns the company, and I was like, I'm a little far out on the countryside here. I was like, I was wondering if maybe you came out here. And she's like, it's like, yeah, I don't know if we'll do that. And I was like, don't know if you will do or you can do. And she goes, I don't know if we will do that. And I was like, okay. She's like, how long have you lived there? And I was like, I've been here for like 2, maybe 3 months. She goes, how long have you been in Wisconsin? And I was like, not long at all. She's like, I could definitely hear an accent on you. She's like, where are you from? I said, Texas. She's like, so you haven't been there that long? I was like, no, I've been like 2 or 3 months. And so then she asked me, she's like, what are some of the stores downtown there? And I was like, I see a diner and a bar. I don't know what else is downtown. It was like really weird questioning. And so she goes, okay, we'll come get it. And I was like, all right, cool. And so then they show up, and it's her and this big guy with apparently her son. So I go out there, I'm taking the plates off, and I'm talking to her and everything. She goes, yeah, sorry, I was weird on the phone with you. And I was all like, yeah, that was kind of weird questioning. And she goes, this is a really weird town. Like, we might fuck our brother and sister type weird town. So once we found out you weren't actually like a resident of the town, we felt more comfortable coming out here. If you actually would have been, we wouldn't have came out here. I was like, what? I was like, holy shit. She was like, yeah, I'm dead serious. She's like, literally, that's why I asked you those questions. She's like, this is a weird fucking place. People around here are weird. She's like, if you moved in, I suggest you move back out. I was like, holy fuck. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like that. It's pretty interesting.
That came out of nowhere. When we are no longer on this call, you're going to tell me which town that is. I am very curious. Don't malign the town now, but I
won't, but I will say this. You've been to that house. You've 100. It was the most recent one before I moved into that condo. You've been to that house. 100% you've been to that house.
Interesting.
Yep. 100% you've been to that exact house. Shit. I mean, at that point, honestly, I really didn't even know Kelsey that well. At that point, me and Kelsey were still like beginning our friendship at that point. So it was one of those things where I didn't really know her. So
I need clarification.
Hey, random chick that's hanging out with my girlfriend and her friend at the time. Like,
nope.
By the way, people fuck their family out here, So fucking be careful.
By the way.
We lived.
Want to come here?
We lived in the country. Every time the friends came out, they all wanted to go out to the city. I was designated driver. They were never in the fucking country to begin with. You guys were there for like 10 minutes, and then I drove your ass to the city. So it's not even close. Not even close.
That was going to be my question. Was it because you were uncomfortable calling me and being like, we don't know each other that well, but be careful?
Oh, for sure. I did not know you that well yet. Yeah.
Or if it was a, If they go after her and they say she's new blood, then I know this is a real rumor.
I'm almost 100% positive the specific night that I'm thinking of that you were out there was the first time I actually ever met you. I'm almost 100% positive on that one.
Nah, you met me. You met me well before I left college. Well before. You came over to a house I was at, and you and Bree sat on a couch texting each other because I think you'd had a fight right before you'd walked in.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember most of that, but I don't. Okay, I'll just take your word for it because I don't remember. There were so many times where I was at random people's houses and like I never really got like in that friend group. So then it was like I was like, okay, that was what it was. So it's very possible. It's very possible. All I know is I remember going to one friend's house and like they were all reading some script together and they're like, hey, we need somebody to play this character, and it was like a female, and so I was just like, fuck it, I'll do it. And I was just trying. It was like my first time ever going to like her friend's house, and so I'd like put on my best Southern belle and just fucking went at it, and they all thought it was fucking hilarious. And I don't think
I was just about to ask. I'm like, did you take the opportunity to lean in, or did you just like read it like deadpan?
Oh yeah, no, I leaned in. You know me, I don't give a shit. Yeah, I leaned into that.
Yeah, I would have too. That would have been a great moment to be like, you know what? If they can handle me at this super weird moment, then we're gonna be fine.
Well, the best part is that the character I was playing was married, and the husband, which was the boyfriend of the girl who was not there because she was homesick, was there reading his part. So it's me and him. I was like, it just made it even better.
Oh my god, that's amazing. The beautiful comedy. That's great. I love it.
Good times. But yeah. So
also, what friend group invites another like people over to read a script together?
I don't know. Yeah, if you say so. I think it was one of those things where like I was in a situation where the person's house was very interested into the person that I was dating, and the person I was dating decided to not go out with that person because they were going out with me, and I wasn't quite here yet type deal. And so I think it was just a way of finding a way to exclude me out of things while I was there, but then everybody else was like, oh, well, so-and-so's not here. Are you okay with playing this part?
They and just brought you like, right in.
Fuck it. Yeah, why not? Yeah, that kind of situation.
Do you know if it was like a script one of them had written?
Yeah, no, they wrote the script. Yeah, I think it was more of a team project versus just one person, but I definitely think that, it was 100% something that they had wrote. I don't even remember the story at this point. I just remember that I was going to try to do everything I could to make this dude as uncomfortable next to me as possible because he was my husband in the story. So, yeah, that was my job. That was my job. So
was that the guy? No, that wasn't the guy after your girl.
No, it wasn't. But yeah, so. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting introduction to that town. That's for sure. I was very, very concerned after that. I was like, I think I'm gonna stick to myself and not get to know like my neighbors or literally anybody.
Yeah.
Because I'm usually the kind of guy, like, I mean, I've worked at convenience stores, you know, in my youth and shit too, where I'm that kind of guy. I'll go in there, I'll bullshit with a clerk. Like, I don't give a shit, you know, like, hey, you busy right now? Nah, all right. Cool. So what's going on, man? How's your day tonight? And stuff like that. You know, I don't give a shit. I'm that kind of guy. I'm really just easygoing. I didn't talk to any of the clerks. I just like, they tainted my mind of this town. Like, that was just all there was to it. And like, cause you would just drive down and some people, you look at them, you're like, I feel like they were right about you. But at the same time, you still don't know how much of that is just like their words, you know, kind of like, you know, input. At the same time,
one single experience. Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, I've also been to Alabama and Mississippi and have actually seen some of these kind of situations play out where like relatives are dating and shit. And it's just kind of like maybe that's what was going on there.
I know somebody who, a deeply, deeply religious man. He is now a 60-plus-year-old adult who his car broke down in rural, I want to say Tennessee, rural Tennessee. And Tennessee. It was broken down for like 3 days, and he left with a wife. And it like his wife they're still happily married. They have kids. They're happy, but she made it clear at some point that her impetus for marrying him was like, you were the only guy I'd ever met that I wasn't related to, and I wanted to get out, and marrying you meant I got to get out. And so they're still happy, but now he's a deeply religious man. He goes, he counsels the youth church at the guys at his church. He counsels the youth, and guys will complain to him every now and then about like, oh, I can't seem to find a girl, and he's just like, go where they don't have any other option. if you're the only option, you'll find a girl. And I'm like, nope, you do not teach. Nope, no, no,
This
no.
sounds bad.
There is no
This
part of that
sounds so
sounds
bad.
okay. You do not tell guys, give her no other option, or you'll get one if you're the only option. All parts of that are terrible. And he's like, it's a funny joke. And I'm like, except it's kind of not. And he's like, yeah, when we go back to see her family for holidays, he's like, we don't make jokes about marrying your cousin because that's a real thing there.
It's really big apparently in
Oh.
Mississippi. Like it's like fucking like a huge deal in Mississippi. I think it's like officially legal that you can marry your second cousin. Maybe first. Maybe. I feel like first might still be pushing a line, but I know one of them was like asinine, and that's why I want to say it's first cousin at Mississippi, and I think in Alabama it's second cousin. So, I don't know if I've actually ever told this story.
Most places it's okay to marry your second cousin.
Is it?
It's second or third. Yeah, I think it's
okay.
because it's far enough away that it prevents too many issues.
Too many issues being the quotes there.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking A. Oh, just don't marry somebody fucking related to you, dude. Like, come on now. Oh. Anyways, so super
Yes.
like it is second cousin. Okay.
Second cousin legally allowed in every state.
Wow.
Every state. Oh,
I'm
boy.
actually kind of surprised by
Well,
that.
Good
Well,
news.
it wasn't Theodore
Good
Roosevelt. It
news.
was Franklin Delano. No, I think Franklin Delano Roosevelt. One of the Roosevelts. Eleanor Roosevelt
FDR.
married her.
Yes,
Yeah, married Eleanor Roosevelt, who was his second cousin.
They
Yeah.
have the same last name. It's obvious.
Well, they did after they got married too. That's the best part. It's like I don't need to change it. Fuck it. You know.
It's convenient.
Can that be Roosevelt? Like hyphen the Roosevelt? Is that
I'm
possible?
sure. I'm sure it's FDR. Yeah, I saw some. I saw an allusion to that in a joke recently.
Yes.
That's funny. I mean, it's weird, but it's funny. So I guess a kind of super private-ish type story I got that kind of falls into this category because we're here. Fuck it, right? I don't think I've ever told this on the podcast, but I might have. I don't know. I've told so many. We've had so many fucking podcasts at this point. I don't know what I have and what I haven't talked about. So, which is funny because it's one of those things where it's like whenever I meet somebody new and they're like, "Oh my god, I watched one of your podcasts, your new ones, and it was hilarious. So I'm gonna go back and watch all of them from the start." And I'm like, "Awesome!" And then I get home and I'm like, "Fuck." I don't know if I've ever talked shit about you personally on a podcast. It might have happened. So then I just wait, like I just wait. And then, maybe I get that text where it's all like, so I just watched one of your podcasts and we had to have a conversation. I'm just like, what is this about? Anyways, so my grandmother on my dad's side passed away due to muscular dystrophy. She physically couldn't even breathe on her own or anything else anymore. Yeah. She was a huge church-going woman. I didn't know her because that was just like a different part of the family, technically, is what it was more considered. Like, we didn't really go see them all that often because, like, the grandma that is in my life is actually my step-grandma, but I don't consider that. Blood could not make us any closer. I love that fucking woman to death. So, I know you watch this stuff, so I love you. Anyways, so that was my step grandma is not actually like mother to my dad at all, besides obviously the stepmom aspect. So this is his actual mom, and I never met her just due to one, she was having health issues, and it was always so far of a trip going from Texas all the way over to Tennessee. But she was the kind of woman where it's like we didn't know each other, but there were birthday calls, there were Christmas calls, there were birthday cards, Christmas cards. Like she didn't miss a beat. You know what I mean? So
she did what she could to let you know you were loved.
Right, exactly. So when I heard that she was passing, my dad was going to go see her. I was like 16, 17 at this point. Like it was like way later on, and I still had yet not seen her one time. I think she did see me like when I was an infant, but nothing that I can remember, right? So infant, toddler, whatever. I know my mom at some point is going to watch this podcast and be like, fucking, she saw you in this. She always corrects me. Anyways, so look, I don't remember. Get a life. Anyways, so love you too. Anyways, but so I went with him to go see her. Now this was like a big deal for me because I know I've talked about it a couple times on the podcast where I did not have a good relationship with my dad. My dad was a very abusive person and really dark shit with my dad. I did not have a really good relationship with my father at all. But there's some aspect of like it's still your dad was in my head because I was a kid and I didn't know any better. And one of the things I think that hit me the hardest my entire life was like I've never seen my dad cry, like not one time. Like I've literally went in where they did like, you know, where they were like cutting into my dad because he had like, my dad had so many fucking health issues stuff going on. He was a diabetic. He was the type of diabetic where it was like, if I eat this much sugar and take this much insulin, I'll be okay. Like that kind. So the bad kind, the kind you shouldn't be. If you're a diabetic, don't fucking fuck with that because that shit's dangerous. He lost his leg to gangrene and all types of shit. So I would literally go in and see them like somewhat operating on my dad, and he would just be talking. Like my dad just was not one of those people that like I ever saw cry. Wasn't like big, I'm gonna show you I'm any kind of pain type guy, right? Mm-hmm. That was the first time I ever saw my dad cry. Was like when his mom passed away. That shit hit me hard. Like I could not stop crying. Like I was not prepared. I was not prepared for that. Like my grandma passed away wasn't so bad because we didn't have that relationship. I felt bad about it, but there wasn't really too much that I could do as a kid, so I knew that. But like seeing my dad cry, I was like, that's where I lost it. I was like, holy fuck! Like I was not prepared for this. But that's not the reason why I'm telling a story. She's a lovely lady. I did get to see her before she passed away, which was fantastic. She couldn't talk, but she had like a little writing board, which was awesome. So she actually, you know, wrote to us and stuff like that. And that was one of the hardest parts, was like whenever they were talking about, you know, we can keep her on a life support type machine and she'll stay alive for a couple years, but really it's up to her choice. We'll let each one of you go in and talk to her. And like they had me go in and I'm like, she doesn't fucking know me. So like I walk in and yeah. I think my aunt was in there with her and she was just like, hey, you know, hey, this is Christopher, da da da, and she was just like, oh my god, he's so handsome, da da da, and all this other shit, because first time she was seeing me and all this, and so I asked her, I was like, look, you know, I know we don't have that relationship, and I don't feel like this should be a question even coming from me, but I'm in here, I'm going to ask you. The doctor's talking about a machine that'll keep you alive possibly another 3 or 5 years. You know, what are you thinking about? What do you want to do? And she wrote the same message to everybody: I'm ready to see Jesus. I'm ready to see Jesus. That was just, she's gone. She's ready to go. And I was all right, you know, I mean, that's your wishes, da, da, and I stayed there and I talked to her for a little bit. She just listened. And I kind of was like, you know, I'll just tell you a little bit about my life and stuff you weren't able to be there for. And then she wrote on the board, was like, did you receive my cards? And I was like, yeah, every year we got your cards and stuff like that. So really, really nice visit, but, you know, weird circumstance, obviously. This is the part of the story on why I'm telling this. So I met a cousin up there that I did not know I was related to. I'm not going to say any names. We were the only kids, so naturally we're going to hang out. So like we would be like chilling outside, or like, you know, hey, we're gonna go down to the cafeteria and grab food. Like we were always together. Yeah. I don't know who started the rumor, but someone started the rumor that we were dating. Started the rumor, and I didn't get confronted about it until my dad was crying, and as I said, I physically could not handle that, so I started crying, so she grabbed my hand, but it was one of those, like, you know, just like that, you know, then that's not a big deal in my family, because you do that every time you go to pray, da-da-da-da-da. So she just grabbed my hand and just was kind of like patting my back. Nothing crazy. Next thing I know, just being kind, right? Next thing I know, I'm in the car with my grandparents, and they're all like, please tell me you're not dating your cousin. I was like, I'm sorry, we need to reverse gears here. Stop. Who are we talking about? And they're like, so and so. And I was like, where did you get that? And they're like, well, we got told that you were like holding hands and you guys have been together the entire time, and that someone saw you kiss in the cafeteria. I was like, yeah. What the fuck? I was like, no, never, not even close. No, I could not fucking believe it. I was like, what? Someone literally was like, yeah, nah, they're dating. And I was like, and they were okay with it? They're like, yeah. And they wouldn't tell me who it was. And I was like, what the fuck is this? They were just okay with us. They were fucking related. I was like so disgusted with the even thought of this. I was like, are you kidding me? Now, I will say this, as like a family member, she wasn't a bad looking girl or anything like that. She was a very pretty girl. But once again, that to me does not even register, because like family. That's the third thing. Yeah, I I just feel like, like I'll just throw that out there, full fucking story, whatever. But it's like one of those things where it could be like, fucking pretty chick, bam, family's gonna be like right there in my fucking face, like it's not even an option. It's not even an option, and I just could not fucking believe it. I was like, what? Oh my god! So like every time fucking like we're in like a lobby or something, we're like joking with Joey or something because he's from Alabama, and somebody brings up like the whole cousin date thing, and it just always reminds me of that story. I'm like, no, I was actually accused of that one time, a long time ago. Yeah.
I do know somebody who did date their cousin because they were on an island. They were very isolated. This was a cousin that they didn't really know. And it turns out they were related to literally everyone on the island. And they were just like, well, if I'm related to everybody and I have to be here for 5 months, I guess I'm going to sleep with somebody that this person I at least I'm not directly related to him. So, okay. And they carried on a relationship for a few months and then they left the island. I was like, I don't understand. And they're like, you weren't on an island with everyone you're related with. And I'm like,
why were they on the island?
If I give away that information.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, that information gives up too much, unfortunately, but yeah.
Fair enough. I get it, though. I mean, that's why I didn't specifically say, who was there.
Yeah, I don't.
I get it.
People will know who it is if I give up too much more, so.
Damn, that's crazy. Wow. I said, I would never be able to get past that. I just don't. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's
my
just
only
knew?
cousin is a boy child. So
He's
it doesn't really come up because he's a child.
And he's a boy.
He's a boy. So really not on any vector there.
That's fair. That's
Okay.
fair. I will
Try
say.
not to date your cousin. That's the dead funny advice. I mean, we've got a lot of it. This has been an episode full of advice.
It's been a weird
lot of
episode, for
fungus-related advice, and then now there's try not to date your cousin.
So also, maybe date your cousin. Who cares? The fungus is gonna get you.
Yeah, if the fungus is gonna
why
get
worry?
you, it's already killing people. Like it's not a joke.
Oh my gosh, this is great. The world's ending. Fuck your cousin. There you go.
I'm not putting my name on that one, Chris. I am going to take my name right off that piece of advice.
Oh my god, that's fucking great. That's fantastic. This is the content that I make. Man, this is great. It's fantastic.
This is
the
when
end of my
you
day.
stand by and you put your name on and you're just
I
like,
want
that
to
was
put
good
that shit on a resume and be like, fucking, look, you need to know anything about me, go watch the last half of podcast number 131. There you go. You'll know everything you need to know.
This is fascinating to me. This is such a world that I'm not even remotely part of.
It's crazy,
of where people are even considering cousins.
Bro, I didn't think it was a big deal. I'd always heard about it being in Alabama because, you got like the movie Deliverance and shit, and everybody's always making jokes about stuff like that. And then like the cousin jokes are like, that's the funniest part to me because I'm actually from Alabama. So whenever I hear like Tony or something make the joke knowing that he's never been there, like the Alabama cousin fucking joke is such a big deal in Alabama with people saying it to each other. And it feels like everybody outside the world feels like they're like ashamed because they actually do it. So they don't like hearing the joke. But really, it's like probably like the 14th time they heard it that fucking day. You know what I mean? Like it's constant down there. It's all like that's the best. Like you're in a fucking traffic stop. I've literally have seen this where I'm sitting at a red light and a dude is honking his horn. He's like, fuck you. He's like, nah, fuck you. Nah, you probably fuck your cousin. Like, I mean, it's that kind of fucking like seriously. Like that's how it is.
It's in the zeitgeist.
Exactly.
How's
So
even an insult if the Alabamians are just cool with it anyway? It's just like, yes, you're right. I do fuck my cousin. What do I care?
I don't think that's the response.
It in our laws.
I don't think that's the response they're throwing out there. So when I do fuck my cousin, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, what would happen in Alabama if somebody responded that way? Are people just gonna be like, "Well, good for you," then? Or are they like, "What's?"
That's when you. That's probably the end of the conversation. Like, how do you follow that up? Like, yeah, I do fuck my cousin. You're just like,
guy with his cousin.
bro, you just opened up some layers I was not prepared for.
Thank you for your vulnerability. Goodbye.
You know what? You deserve to cut me off. You got way more bullshit going on at home than I do. That's the end of that. Oh my god, that's fucking funny. Man, that's crazy.
Try it next time you're in Alabama and let us know how it goes. Report back.
I have to have like Joey recorded or something.
He'd be so excited
man.
for that job.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, I even heard that one joke where they talk about the whole like dating my sister or something. It's like, if anybody's gonna sleep with my sister, it's gonna be me. And I'm just like, oh my god, it's so gross.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
man.
Don't like that. Want no part of that nonsense. Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Nope.
I think that was my first joke playing Resident Evil 7 when I was walking in. I was like, what kind of Alabama bullshit did I just walk into? Oh, man, that's so
Louisiana, I don't think it's that different
Yeah.
necessarily. In that part of it, at least.
Yeah, down by the bayou.
Yeah.
That was like my running joke the entire time I was streaming that when that came out. I kept doing the whole, my mama said. Alligator is so angry because they can't brush all their teeth. Have you never seen Waterboy?
What the fuck you're talking about?
You've never seen Waterboy? Adam Sandler, Waterboy?
In parts.
Oh my god.
I have an awareness. I get what you were going for.
That's right. Kelsey hates like all good comedy. She just
No.
fucking hates good comedy. Is what it is.
No, I was a stern child, and I preferred different humor than Adam Sandler most of the time. So why in the world would I watch Waterboy? Like,
You just
really?
weren't around people who it wasn't like a thing your friends did. They didn't show you Happy Gilmore on a bus once.
Oh,
They
Happy
showed us
Gilmore is so
on a
good.
bus once.
No, I was friends with people that
We
oh,
watched
God.
porn. That was what we watched on the bus.
Oh my god, no!
I mean, the school showed us Happy Gilmore.
Oh no! Yeah, the school wasn't
no.
showing us porn. No, that'd be like. Yeah, the school's not showing us porn. That's fair.
Texas, it's all
Texas, yeah, it's fucking. There you go.
nightmarish.
Texas.
We separate the sexes and we show them their own types of porn.
Good. Yes.
That's really why they separate you guys.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
No, my friends were showing me things like Firefly when I was in high school. They were not showing
Okay.
me porn or Happy
Waterboy
Gilmore.
came out in the 90s. Probably.
Also, what the fuck is Happy Gilmore? I don't.
Another Adam Sandler movie. Yeah, he's a golfer. Adam Sandler's a golfer. It's fucking great. It's a fantastic.
His finest
movie.
work aside from Unstrung Love.
Bro,
I don't recognize that either.
That movie is known as like one of the worst movies in the world. I love Punch Drunk Love. I think it's probably one of the best pieces of cinema out
people
there.
who are wrong. May
I
think
agree
that.
with you. We are on the
That
same
movie is
page on
art.
that one. That
Yeah.
movie is amazing. I love that fucking movie. Everybody I've showed it to
Punch Drunk
hates
Love
it.
is a movie Adam Sandler's in where he was like actually a good actor. It was like it's still like funny, but it's like a more serious kind of thing.
Yeah, it's more of an act.
Yeah, so it's like his best thing.
Yeah,
But,
that's fair.
Happy Gilmore is his best, just full on being Adam Sandler thing.
That's what they're known for. Like his whole like cinema opening is usually, I think it's called Happy Madison Pictures or some shit like that, or Happy Madison Production, and it's like them hitting a golf ball and it cracks into the screen, and it's like Happy Madison Productions. Yeah, that's like on all of his movies after that. Like that's like his number one thing. So. Man, he's made so many movies. Like there was like the other day, I think I was like scrolling through Netflix and I saw fucking Little Nicky pop up, and I was like, I forgot this fucking thing even existed. Like, holy
He was
shit!
prolific for a long time there.
I miss him.
Yeah, Waterboy.
Do you?
I do. I love Adam Sandler, 100%. I don't think there's a movie he has out there that I haven't watched. He even has some shit ones for sure. Like Click was fucking terrible, but I've watched it anyway. I don't give a shit.
I've
Have
seen
you watched
that.
the ones they put out on Netflix? Like
Yeah, I've seen every single one that they come
Ridiculous
out
Eight or
with.
whatever?
Bro, the fucking latest one they did, the one with the Halloween, that one was
Oh,
great.
QB Halloween,
QB
yeah.
Halloween, that was so good. Oh,
Okay, I have not seen
that
it.
was
I don't
so
know.
good. Yes,
I
you need to see
absolutely
it.
do not believe you, but
It's one of those movies where they know it's an Adam Sandler movie and they know it's stupid, so they just
Yeah.
made it stupid. Like literally made it stupid. Like there's like literally one scene where he's getting chased down the street on a bike and he's just riding and his kids are throwing rocks at him and like he literally just stops dead in the middle of the street, does like this cool fucking complete turn on one wheel, catches a rock in thin air and just fucking whips it back at again. Like it's dumb. Like the whole movie is just
Okay.
like, this is a stupid movie. It's just gonna be a stupid movie. So they just put all these effects in and shit just to make it even more dumb. So it's fucking great.
Maybe.
Oh, I've watched it like 3 times. The movie's fucking amazing. I love it. It's so good. I love Adam Sandler.
That sounds like my kind of thing.
8 Crazy Nights, another one of them, top of my list. That was
I mean,
so good.
it is the greatest Hanukkah movie ever made, I think, by default.
And it's animated. It's so good. Oh,
What the fuck?
yes,
What?
8 Crazy
Adam
Nights.
Sandler- You made the Hanukkah
Yeah.
movie.
Yep, he made a Hanukkah movie. He said there's no Hanukkah movies, so he made a Hanukkah movie because he's Jewish. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
I was
great.
unaware he was Jewish.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's a great movie.
Huh.
I love it.
Do people get together and watch that on Hanukkah?
No.
Not like,
No, it's not that kind of movie.
yeah, it's not.
This would be like our version of like The Grinch Stole Christmas, but like rated R type deal. Like, yeah, it's that kind of movie.
Oh,
like the
yeah.
movie
Oh, God.
literally starts with him being like a drunk breaking into the mall and like shitting on all over the place and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting movie. It's pretty great. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all we've got.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So it's a classic.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
It's a classic. We'll go for that.
It's just
But
if you're doing a BuzzFeed or whatever article, it's like top 10 Halloween Hanukkah movies. It's 8 Crazy Nights. It's 1 episode of Rugrats, and then it's nothing. Then it's nothing else. That's every instance of Halloween, Hanukkah.
Oh my god.
You
That's
just killed
funny.
Chris.
That was pretty good. 1 episode of Rugrats. I mean,
That
I
one
feel
episode
like
of Rugrats was a big deal. It was like.
I feel like they pushed enough Hanukkah shit into South Park that like you could probably have like a season of South Park at this point too.
Maybe.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
it's
got
really
they even had the Hanukkah songs. Who forget dreidel, dreidel, dreidel? I made you out of clay. Like
That's a great one.
There you go. See. And then you had the whole thing where like Jesus was a lie, and like the whole Hanukkah church camp where like Jesus was like the dreidel and it was the Hanukkah god and all this other stuff that was going on.
What just happened?
South Park, man.
South Park.
Fucking South Park. It's great. Love it.
I need to know a small piece
He
of
shot laser beams
information.
out his eyes.
Please.
The Dreidel, Dreidel, Dreidel song. Tell me that South Park did not create that.
No.
No.
Thank
No, that's-
God. I was convinced that was actually a Jewish song from a long time ago and became very worried it was actually a South
I don't
Park
think it's.
thing.
I would guess not from a long time ago, in like the sense of how long it could be. It's not like, I mean, we're going back to the Maccabees or whatever. You know, this could be BC times.
Right.
I don't think it's from then. It's probably within the last 100 years.
1927 during the Tin
That is
Pan
within the last
Alley
100
era.
years. Nailed it.
Look
New
at
York
you, dude.
composer Sam Goldfarb was busily combining traditional Jewish music with American pop and novelty. The song did not catch on right away.
But when
But
they
it was
came out in
wasn't
South
any
Park, it
Hanukkah
did.
Thing that it was just a relatively last century attempt to make Hanukkah cool because of how much Christmas was cool. You know,
Yeah.
it's just to try to compete for the Jewish kids, to give them something.
I'll tell you this. I was a Jewish kid, but I ran around singing that song all the damn time after South Park came out. Dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. It was so fucking catchy, dude. It's so good. It sucks that it didn't catch on right away. It was a great song. Great song.
Well, it didn't catch on right away in 1927.
Yeah, it certainly
got
got
there.
on by.
Oh, yeah, it got
90s.
there. Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying. South Park might have had a hand in that if it caught on by the 90s. Might have been South Park. I'm telling you, dude. It needs to be on that list, whether it takes the spot of Rugrats and Rugrats gets pushed down an episode or it's just episode 3. South Park belongs on that fucking list. I'm campaigning for it.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we can.
Like how hard you're campaigning for there to be Hanukkah-related media.
Well, I just like, just like, that's okay. We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
At
I'll
the
take
next,
it. Yeah,
we'll talk about it at the next board meeting.
When the Jewish people meet to agree on their media report.
On their media. Oh, it's great. So, last thing that I wanted to say here, and I was going to say it while Kelsey's doing, but I didn't want to derail her fungus is going to kill us all conversation. So, when you started talking about it, and like you even said the word fossil records, the reason I started laughing wasn't because of your story. It was, I wasn't making fun of you, I guess I should say. It was more along the lines of, I don't know why, but ever since The Office has been gone, I just filled that hole directly with Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I've watched that thing like 6 times in a row now. now, like in a loop. I love that fucking show. And there's one episode where Dennis is eating a bowl of cereal while he's driving. And it just sounds obviously dumb, right? But he drives, he gets to a stoplight, he looks, makes sure it's safe, then he takes a bite, and then he goes back to driving. So he's just holding it. And Frank, who can't see, even though he has glasses on, rams into the back of him. So there was this whole debate on who had to pay for the damages to Dennis's car. And Frank's like, that's not my fault. The damages on the outside of the car don't exist. The only damage to the inside of the car, and that's his fault for eating something as irresponsible as cereal as he's driving. And he's all like, bullshit, you hit me. Like, this is 100% your fault. And he's all like, I just need new glasses. He's like, what's wrong with your glasses? He's like, the lens don't work so well. He's like, that's the glasses! You shouldn't be driving without fucking glasses. Like, so like they get this whole argument, right? So they decided that they're going to do this whole internal court system. And so they make this fucking whiteboard, this big old billboard, and it's got these like detachable gavels on it. And so it's like Frank's side, Dennis's side, and then the fence. And so everybody starts on the fence and they're constantly moving their gavels throughout as they're making these arguments. Well, Mac, the guy in the show who's known as religious, he starts losing Charlie on something. So they are, what it was is that he's the only one that does the whole like religion thing. Everybody else doesn't believe in religion on the show. So he's talking about the fact that evolution is a lie. He's like, well, evolution is a lie. It doesn't exist, like obviously. And so then Charlie's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I believe you anymore. And so he's like, they take a break from the whole court, and Frank meets up with Dennis or Mac in the closet. He's like, you gotta quit with your stupid God is real bullshit. You're losing Charlie. He's like, you gotta get him on our side because you know Dee's gonna side with Dennis. You gotta get Charlie back on our side. He's like, all right, man, for you, I'll do it. And so then it's like 8 hours later, he comes down and he's made this whole nother fucking board. And he's like, I got it, guys. I'm gonna prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that evolution is bullshit. And he pulls this fucking thing down. It's just God, and it's like evolution. It's a whole bunch of like stupid faces on it. And he's got the fence again, and he's sitting all their things are now crosses instead of gavels. And he's like, I put God on the right side, and I put evolution on the left. And so they go to start talking about that. He goes, so I'll go ahead and start you all out over here on the fence because that's where you're at. And they're like, oh, no. And they all get up and move their shit directly over to evolution. They're like, let's start where we're actually going to start. And so this is where it pertains to your story. So he goes start talking about God. And he's like, I think it was Dennis was like, Matt, God just doesn't exist. Like science, that's why evolution is real. Like science exists. It's a real thing. And he's like, well, I'm glad you brought up science, Dennis, because that brings me to this. And he pulls out another board that he made behind it, slams it down, pulls the cover off, and it says, because science is a liar. Sometimes. It literally says sometimes. And he starts going through about like how scientists came up with this. But then later on, this smart guy came around and found out that this was actually bullshit. So he made himself and everybody else look like a bitch and then slams it on his face. He's like, now let's move on to the next guy. And he's doing it. So the best part is he's like, Mac, basically what you're saying is that you're taking it on a leap of faith that a whole bunch of guys who wrote a book that you never met before are telling you that God is real, so you're taking it that it is real. And he goes, okay, so you're right. And he's like, and what about science? He goes, well, there's just volumes and volumes of data. Like, it's real. It exists. There's fossil records. He's like, I forgot about the fossil records. Have you yourself looked at these fossil records, Dennis? He's like, well, no. He's like, have you yourself poured through the data? And he's like, well, no. And he goes, so you meet with these guys that wrote these books and hang out and, discuss the fact that evolution is real. It's like, well, obviously not. And he goes, so what you're telling me is that you are reading books by men you have never met and just going by what they say, dare I say it, based off a leap of faith? And then Charlie's like, he makes a good argument. I think I believe in God now. I was like, no fucking way. It's just such good writing. Oh my God, it cracks me up. I just love the science is a liar. Sometimes. I was like, that's fucking ridiculous. Show cracks me the fuck up. Anybody who hasn't watched it, you watch it. It's amazing. Such a good show. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. We ran a little over time. So we're going to go wrap it up. If you guys enjoyed this podcast between death and cousins and ending up on a great happy note of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, then you
Tell
know,
us your favorite Hanukkah movies.
yeah,
Is
there
it
you
Eight Crazy
go.
Nights? That's the only option.
Have you been infected with a fungus recently? Tell us your story.
There's a 75% chance that it is Eight Crazy Nights. That's funny. Anyways, make sure you like, subscribe. Also, turn on his notification. That way you get notified next time we upload another video. Hit us in the comment section below. Like I said, let us know your thoughts. As JoJo's already put out there, I would love to see just a long list of Hanukkah movies. That would be great. Educate me. I want to know how many different Hanukkah movies are out there. Yeah, let's get that list going. But other than that, we got our Twitters and Twitches down in the links below. But at the end of all this, hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you next time.